I'm about to try and describe you. If it describes you, then this video might be for you. If it does not describe you, then you might want to find a different video. So here is my attempt to try and describe you and see if I can help you with something that I learned. You have big dreams, and you're not just having big dreams, you're working towards your dreams. You are actively trying to get fit, and you are actively in college and trying to get a college degree, or you are working to publish a book and you have put in all the work and you're not on your first book, you're on your third book, and you are working to get an agent and get that book published. Or you're another creative field. Maybe you're like me, you're trying to get a movie made, or you're trying to become a screenwriter, or you're trying to start a business. You are working towards something that you know is possible. Deep down in your gut, in your heart, you know that if you work really, really hard over a long period of time, you're gonna get to where you wanna get to. That's the person I'm talking to right now. You're the person that is driven. You're not obsessed with it in a way that that's all your life is about, but you are very passionate about getting towards a certain goal. You're in it for the long haul. You're not just doing it for 1 week. This is not the third week you're into it and now you're watching a video about it. No, you've been in this for a while. And the problem is, this is the person I want to describe. The problem is you don't always work towards it. Whenever you get the chance, you get that perfect Friday evening where you have no evening plans and you're gonna sit down and you're gonna work on that book. And you don't. Or you are working towards that degree and you finally get a chance to work at it, to study and to get ahead of the class curve, and you don't do it. Or you're finally getting a chance to be creative and write that script or make that movie or go to the gym and you just don't do it. Sure, you do it sometimes. You do it, consistently. You're working towards it. It's not like you're just talking. Like, you genuinely are working towards it. You're not a lazy person. But when you get those giant pockets of time, maybe you have a whole Saturday with nothing else planned except to sit down and write. And maybe you sit down, you write, get a little ways, but then you find something else to do, or you get bored, or you find another idea to brainstorm. You do something, anything other than writing. Or maybe it's finally time to take that business to the next level. You actually started it, like you're a go-getter. You have started that business, and now it's time to take it to the next level, and you just don't find the time to commit to it. You know you have time. You can look at your calendar and you see those pockets of time and you know you have time to do it, but you actually aren't working on it as much as you know you could. And here's the kicker: when you do find those pockets of time to work on it, maybe you do get a full weekend and you work on it and you do that thing, you get a moment to rebuild the house, to redo that bathroom that you found to do, and you do it and you make a bunch of progress and you get a huge accomplishment. You get all the way to the midpoint of your script. I mean, you work all 8 hours of the day that you possibly could have worked on that thing. You come home, you stay up late at night, and you work on that thing, and you work on that business, and you make phone calls, and you find a big actor that you're gonna try and work with, and you write the end on the book. But no matter how hard you work, you are not satisfied. You have this gnawing feeling of, I could have done more. I could have done something. Well, I didn't steward the other hours I could have been working, or the last weekend I didn't get as much done as I did this weekend. No matter how much work you put in, you don't feel happy. And no matter how little work you put in, you don't feel fulfilled because you know you aren't doing enough. That's the person I'm talking to. And so if that describes you, I'd encourage you to keep watching because I have something that might help you. If that does not describe you and you say you're probably a little more lazy and you just need to get more motivation and actually come up with some big dreams in the first place, well, this video is probably not for you. You can keep scrolling, find a different video that helps you. But I want to talk to that person who has a big dream, a big desire, and not just a desire, they're working towards it. They're making steps. They're on their way to that thing. In Atomic Habits, James Clear used this as an incredible analogy of an ice cube. It's at 24 degrees. And the goal is to melt the ice cube. And so the ice cube's sitting there. And at 25 degrees, you don't notice a single change. At 26 degrees, don't notice a single change. 27 degrees, not a change. 30 degrees, it's still an ice cube. It's not melting. There's no sign of it melting. There's no evidence of what is happening. And of course, at 32 degrees, at 33 degrees, that's when it starts dripping and melting just a little bit. So right now, you have the motivation. You have the willpower. You are working on melting the ice cube, whatever the ice cube is for you. A book, working through college, getting your dream job, getting that promotion, rebuilding the bathroom in your house, and getting a movie made, writing that book. Already mentioned that one. But whatever you're trying to do, you're working at it. And you don't need the willpower to say, oh, okay, I need to get from 28 degrees to 29 degrees. You know that it's a long haul. Like me, maybe you're a creative and you know that you aren't just going to get dropped directing a Marvel movie in your lap. You aren't just going to get that huge book publishing deal that works and pays all your bills. That's not your goal. You want the grind and you want the work, but you aren't finding that work in and of itself fulfilling. That's the person I'm talking to, because that was me for so long of my life, especially during high school when I was really honing in on my goals, and then during college when I knew my goals and yet was distracted by some other things because it's college and you have to get a degree. I would never find satisfaction in the work itself. If I was not working on it, I felt bad because I knew I should be working on it, or I should be working on writing a script. I say I'm a writer, I should write, and yet I wasn't actually doing that. Or I would have a full 8 hours and I would sit down and write a little bit, but just wouldn't steward the time as well as I could. I'd, put on some headphones and listen to some music in order to get in the mood, and then spend forever skipping ads and trying to find the exact song to get in the mood. And then I write a little bit, and then I'd realize a block in the way, then I have to go and rewrite something else, and then I decide, oh, okay, I'm just gonna outline that other idea, go ahead and get it written down, at least I'm doing something. And then I start outlining, I just don't feel the energy, then somebody calls, and I'm like, okay, maybe I need a co-writer. And so I call them up, and then they start talking about something else, and then I sit down and I'm like, okay, I have to write a few pages and they aren't any good, so I delete them. And that's my full day of writing. Maybe that's what it feels like, or that's what it felt like during periods of time. So I'm working on it, I'm not making any progress. Or on the other end of things, I would actually work on it and I'd get a bunch done. I would get so much done. It'd be amazing. I remember my junior year of college, the first 2.5 weeks, I was finishing up the company called Glitch. I was giving it everything I had in order to finish that thing. And I didn't take a shower for 3 days because I just did not have the time and I needed to get sleep in order to make it to class. And I was working my tail off and I finished it. I met that deadline and it was amazing. It was awesome. But then I just felt so empty of I just met a big goal. I just did this thing and I used every hour I could. I was motivated, but something was just off. And I can't say exactly what it is. Maybe for you it's a little bit different, but the basic premise is the same. And so you're tying these two things together of, you can't be lazy, but when you get all the time in the world, you don't get much done. And when you do get something done, it's a miracle and it's awesome. And it's that weird anomaly, you just don't feel happy. So that was me. That was me in college. That was me in high school. That was me for a good long season of my life. And I tried a bunch of different things. I'm not going to go through everything that I tried, but you might have heard of some of them. One is the Scott Adams system versus goals, where if you have a goal, when you finish it, you're not satisfied. You need a system of life. You need, to write every day instead of trying to write one screenplay in a week. And that's a great thing. It's helped some, but it's not the source. You can look at all these trappings, all these things that are helpful, but you aren't getting at the root of the problem. And so the root of the problem is something that is more scientific, it's more psychological, it's more built into the fabric and DNA and design of the human being. And it's this thing that humans have understood for years. As far back as history can record, 6,000, 7,000 years ago, there's a bunch of details about this way of life, this way to solve the issue of trying to work too hard or not doing enough work or feeling like you should be doing work. And there is a way of life to fix it. So some of these things like systems or just natural motivation and willpower or coming up with a day-to-day process, it's gonna help somewhat. You've probably tried it. You're a very driven, committed person. I know I tried a lot of those things and they are helpful to a degree, but they only work to some extent. There's still something missing. There's that underlying factor that is missing. And so this thing that I want to tell you about is, I would say, a law of the universe. It is something that cannot be broken, and if it is broken, it is broken at your own peril. Think of it like gravity. Gravity is a law of the universe. It is an absolute. I don't care your worldview. If you jump out of a plane, you're gonna go down. It's great. It can be cool for parachuting or whatever you want to do. It's a law of the universe. Have fun with it or die with it. It is a law of the universe. It's built into the fabric of reality, and you cannot change the law of gravity, at least in our Earth, on the Earth. And so this thing is DNA. It's built inside of us. And when I reveal it, you're probably going to go, Oh, that. Well, no. And so I want to encourage you, before you hear it, to just go in with an open mind. And when you go in, I don't want you to think about it through terms of belief. I want to think about it through terms of action. Because you can know the right thing and not do it. Or you can do the right thing and realize that it kind of works, and then you form your beliefs about it. So I want to give you the encouragement to just try it. Because it's been done by humans for hundreds of thousands of years. And we just kind of got rid of it over the past 150 years or so, just decided we weren't going to try it. And now we're feeling the effects of it. So I've talked enough about it. I want to give you very simply what it is. Okay, are you ready? I don't want to overhype it, but it's very simply this. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to say that again. Think it through it slowly. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What am I doing there? Well, 6 days are meant for work. 1 day is meant for rest. Okay? You know where it's coming from. You know where it's going. All the natural things in your head are going off of the religion side of it, or the you don't like it, or all these different things. Just hear me out for a bit. This is what it's like. If you're a farmer and you decide to harvest and you go outside and there's snow on the ground, you're not gonna harvest. That's just not how it works. Or you are a farmer and you go out to go plant and it's fall and there's a bunch of weeds and corn and such, and you should be harvesting. There's a season of life and you have to learn to go with that season of life. And that works in big seasons of life, but we're gonna go down to a very, very micro level. The simplest form of time, the week. It's a good median level. It's not a second, it's not a minute, it's a week. It's not a year, it's not a century, it's a week. And in the week, there are 7 days. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days that are meant for work, meant to give everything you've got in order to build a system and work and be consistent. And then there's a 7th day that is meant to delight, that is meant to rest. And all of this is coming from the depth of human experience, and it's something that is a law of the universe, and you're going to understand it. And so since all your red flags and antennas are going up going religion, 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 that's okay, but I'll just say, if the greatest teacher of all time in all of human history, the greatest teacher talked about it, then maybe we should try it, and not try it out of a sense of we have to do it and obey and legalistic, but just we should try it. If the greatest teacher of all time tells you something, I think you should try it. And so once again, don't worry about the belief side just yet, just focus on the action. And I want to walk you through kind of what it looks like, because there's a bunch of misconceptions with it, and there's a bunch of the religious side of it, and I just want to share with you the helpful side of it, and then you can decide from there what you want to do with it, okay? So first off, your thought is probably, well, if I do this thing, if I work for 6 days and then take the 7th day off and rest, you're either thinking, A, the culture got rid of it for a reason because it was useless and dumb and it makes no sense, or you're thinking, well, I have tried it, or I do it right now and it's not working. So I want to break down both of those. The first one is, yes, culture has pretty much obliterated it for thousands of years. I mean, I'm sure there were pockets of time where cultures tried to get rid of it here and there, or just naturally got rid of it. Yeah, for the bulk of time, it's worked. It's been the way of life, and it's just a rule, a law of the universe that just works. And the problem is, it's a law that is a little hard to notice, because really it's not a law of the universe, it's a law of the soul. And the soul can be pushed and taxed in a lot of different ways. It can be emotionally pushed, it can be physically pushed, but the soul can be stretched. The problem is we aren't very good at sensing when it's being stretched too far, and we think limits are all a bad thing. So a culture that's tried to get rid of it hasn't done it intentionally. It's not like we've sat there going, man, we don't like the fact that we rest for a 7th day. We just got rid of it because we didn't notice what was happening. We just started selling goods on a 7th day, or what we culturally had as a Sunday, and then now things are just fine. Like Amazon still works, everything just works. There's only a few major corporations that don't do it on a Sunday, and no one can tell a big difference except at a soul level. And on the soul level is where you can actually sense it, and where you can feel it, and where you can feel it most personally in your life if you're trying to be productive. And I'm going to get to the part about, oh, I've already tried it and it hasn't worked in just a moment. But I want to start at how you should approach it and how I've approached it and how it's helped me. The first thing is that it's very helpful to think of in terms of when you do work. If you think about it in terms of religion, of, oh, I'm going to do 6 days, then take Sunday off because that's what I grew up doing, or that's what we should do. I'm not saying Sunday is a perfect holy day. You should take a day off. And by taking a day off, I want to give a very good description of that in a minute. It's not just taking a day off. So you have 6 days where you do all your work. For me, I get up every morning at a set time and I write. Some days I write a little bit longer than others. Some days I have to get to work quicker, and so it's a little bit less writing time. And then on the 6th day, on Saturday, when I actually have a day off from my actual work, my actual job, then I'll sit down and I'll write for a lot longer, typically 2 to 3 hours, so quadruple the amount of time that I would on a regular day. And then on Sunday, I don't write at all. And for me, it's Sunday. For a bunch of pastors who kind of have been preaching about why people should do this, it's been maybe a Friday because that's when their off day is, or maybe it's a Saturday because that's when Jewish culture has done it. So you can get into the religion side of it, but the goal is whatever day works with your schedule, you should take a day off and cease working. So there's a bunch of connotations with it. So let's start with how it kind of works. Number 1 is you're supposed to rest. Number 2, you're supposed to delight. So rest could literally mean sleeping in. I typically sleep a little bit more on a Sunday. It's great. It could also mean going to take a nap. I typically take a nap on a Sunday. It's great. So it might mean physical rest and just doing nothing. I won't go to the gym. I won't exercise. I might take a long walk or something. But for me personally, I'm just not going to do that because for me, that is rest. But the second thing is not just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. It's delighting. And this is the part that I've really started to understand in the way that I work and the way that I write and the way that I create stuff, is you can work for so long and do so much, but then as soon as you finish that thing, you're on to the next thing, and you never take a moment and delight. And so this law of the universe is put in place so that you take 6 days to get a bunch of work done, and the 7th day you delight. You celebrate what you got done. Maybe it can be a big, huge celebration like you might be thinking right now, but maybe it's just a really simple journal entry. Track it, going, wow, I did that. That was cool. Looking back at what you actually got done and celebrating it. Or maybe it's just delighting in the literal work of your hands. For me, I don't have to work on Sunday for my actual job that I get paid to do. And so I delight. I cook a big meal. I spend time in the kitchen, and yeah, that can be considered work. I'm not gonna get legalistic about it, but I'm delighting in what I got to do. I'm gonna make some amazing garlic Parmesan knots with mozzarella cheese in the middle of them. I'm gonna make homemade pizza. I'm gonna make, or try and make, Annie Ann's little pig in blanket things. I'm gonna make food, and it's gonna be great, and I'm gonna delight in it. I'm just gonna sit there and eat, and it's gonna be great. You can't do that every day, but you're gonna delight in it on that Sunday. I'll just go and delight in nature. I'll go take a walk. I'll go in the hammock, and I'll just sit there. No music, no earbuds, no phone, sometimes a book, and I'll just sit there and I'll delight. And I'll just enjoy life, because what is the point of life if you aren't enjoying at least some of it? And here's the thing, this is where it's helpful, because you're not doing it and you're not being lazy. Because in the past, I would take a nap and I'm like, man, I should have been working. Or I would, on a Friday night, watch a movie and be like, I should have done something with that time. Or you squander some time doing whatever and you're like, I should have done something with that time. And it's fascinating because on that day when you decide to do nothing and you're like, I can't do anything, I will not turn on my computer and work on anything. When you choose to do that, that's as soon as you decide that you're going to start doing something. You start getting all these ideas. And I just encourage you to just write down the idea. Don't work on it. Just write down the ideas. Don't forget it. Just keep a little journal entry and write down stuff. Put it on a sticky note. Just write down something and just write it down. And you're going to start having all these ideas, all these fascinating thoughts that come to mind when you actually stop working. Just the other day, I was trying to think of something. This was at paid work, and I was actually trying to think of an idea, and I was just in the middle of all the brainstorming, and then took the day off and rested. And just somewhere along the way, while sitting in a hammock, an idea just kind of floated in my head. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Sometimes you just need to take a moment and pause and look at what you have and enjoy it and have enough. and delight. And there's a bunch of different things that you're going to learn about it and you're going to enjoy. And by the action of resting and just delighting, it's going to change your life. And it's really hard to separate it from the religious side of it, from the teacher, Jesus, God side of it, because God created the universe and he created that way of life. And so I'd encourage you to explore that when you get comfortable, but just try it. Taste and see that it works. Just try it. Try living 6 days one way, work your tail off, be the productive person that you were created to be, get that promotion, work hard at writing that book, do everything you can to build that business. And then on the 7th day, whatever day that is, maybe it's a Monday, maybe it's a Saturday, who knows what day it is, but for a full 24 hours, turn everything off and just rest and delight in what you have. Eat a good meal, celebrate what you have. And here's the thing, you aren't going to want to do it because you know you could be doing more. And yet, if you set aside a full day, you're going to have that feeling a whole lot less. That feeling that we started out this video talking about and kind of diving into, that feeling you get that you should be doing more or you aren't satisfied when you do everything you can. I wouldn't say it goes completely away because there's no perfection this side of eternity, but it's going to go away a lot more. It's going to disappear a whole lot more. And as you're working, as you're driven, as you're diving into these things, you give it everything you've got because you know rest is coming. And then you rest. And it's amazing. For me, the two biggest days the biggest day of productivity is Saturday. It's that day when I can quadruple the amount of writing time. And then I'll spend the afternoon animating or working on editing or just doing something. I'm working and I spend probably 8 to 9 hours a day on that Saturday working. And then you get to Sunday and you just wake up and there's freedom. There is such freedom in not having to work. And you may think, well, there's freedom. I have the freedom to do whatever I want and do a whole lot more. And I could get so much more done on that Sunday. And here's the thing, yeah, you could, but you're not going to enjoy any of it. What is the point of not enjoying life? And yeah, you can't enjoy it all the time. That's why the ratio is 6 to 1 day. But that one day that you set aside, you're going to enjoy it so much more. It's going to be great. So I've talked a little bit about how you should try it. Let me give a couple details that I think are very helpful because you might have a misunderstanding of this and you might think, oh, I've already done that and it hasn't worked. So let me just go at it from the perspective I came at it. I grew up in a home that didn't do anything on Sundays. We wouldn't go play with friends, wouldn't go shopping, but I didn't really understand the meaning of it. It was just we didn't do anything. And yeah, we were supposed to rest. I took a good nap. I enjoyed that. But the delight part I think was missing. And that's something I've learned more and more as you rest and you trust and then you delight and you celebrate and you enjoy life. And it's a day, kind of a little perfect day that you get to have every week. And yeah, I think the Jesus side of it comes in and is really important. And hopefully you'll get to that if you try it at some point. Just try it. But start with the action of it and then come up with the belief side later and see if it'll get you there. Because there's so much peace. There's so much joy in just resting and delighting. And so I grew up in that kind of rest. And I remember in college, this is kind of the first time it started clicking just a little bit. There were people who, they wouldn't do any schoolwork on Sunday. And I was like, that's kind of impossible. You have to, it's the only free day you have to get some work done. And yet they didn't do that. And I was very curious because it made them work harder on Saturday and they actually got a lot more done on Saturday. And then they had all of Sunday to rest. And so I kind of started trying it more and more. Then I learned somewhere along the way that some people would turn off their phone on Sunday. And I was like, that's weird. So I just didn't get on as much on Sunday. But I did notice that when I would just lay in bed and scroll, I didn't get that feeling of peace and the feeling of contentment from resting from work. It didn't feel the same. And it also doesn't feel the same when you're just lazy. And if you just have a really lazy week, then you feel like you have to get something done on Sunday. But you have a lot less of those feelings when you're actually working really hard all 6 days because you know you're going to get a 7th day of rest, whatever day that is for you. But now I want to do, because you've heard a lot, you're thinking through it, you're maybe considering it, maybe you still have the red flags up. I just want to share what my Sabbath day looks like right now, what that rest day looks like. Because it's a little bit different from a day off. A day off is my Saturday. That's where I go grocery shopping and do all the stuff and get work done, do my chores and whatever. So on a Saturday, that is the day of preparation. You need to have a day to prepare in in order to rest well, because you can't just suddenly stop, because then you have all the stuff that you need to do that gets called up and it's time to do something. So you have the day of preparation. Saturday, I get a lot of work done. I do my chores, I get my grocery shopping, so the fridge is stocked, so I can do a bunch of cooking. And then the day starts at sundown. So in the winter, there's a little bit longer Sabbath. In the summer, there's a little bit less. And at this season of life, I do not have a family. So the day is completely silence and solitude, and it's amazing. But I know this may change at some point in life. I'm not saying this is what you need to do. I'm just saying this is how I do it if you're looking for examples. There's a lot of great examples. If you're more on the family side of things, then there's a great guy named John Mark Comer who has broken down what it looks like for his family in this season of life. There's a bunch of people out there who have been doing this and have done it. It may sound weird against the American Western culture, but there's a bunch of people who have done it and it works. But for this season of life, I'll start, get everything ready. I'm not perfect when it comes to sundown. I'm typically finishing up the last thing, and I'll, when the sun goes down, I'm still working on a little something, but then I'll finish up. I'll turn off my writing computer. I'll try and turn it completely off, or at least take it off the charger. I'll put my big computer, my PC, to sleep so that I don't hear the fan running. And then I'll turn my phone completely off. This one has been a big act of trust, and that life is just going to be okay, and I'm not as important as I think I am. But I'll turn the phone completely off for 24 hours. Every once in a while, I'll probably once a month, I'll have to open it on that Sunday in order to text somebody back or respond to something, or I just know somebody's going to be showing up to my house to eat lunch with, and then they're going to be asking the address, and so I want to be a good friend, so I'll have it on. So I'm not legalistic about it, but as much as I can, I turn it completely off, because it turns out I'm not as important as I think I am, and it's super life-giving to just not have to be on your phone. So that's the big step. You might take a little baby step to get there. And so I'll do that. For me, I will try and read something that reminds me of why I am doing what I'm doing, because if you do it every week and you forget the meaning of it, then it's not as useful. So maybe for you, you write down the reasons you're going to do it. For me, I'll typically read a psalm. I see the Jesus side of it a lot more than you may be seeing it right now. And so I'll read a psalm. It's great. And start my day. And at sundown, I'll go cook or eat whatever I have cooked, but typically I'm cooking, and it's a great, wonderful meal. I'll go sit on the back porch if it's summer or fall. I'll just sit inside and read a cozy book if it's winter, and then I'll go to bed, and it's great. Then I'll wake up, I'll sleep in a little bit on Sunday. I'll do my quiet time, go to church, and just enjoy life. Talk as long as I need to. I'm not needed, I don't have my phone on me. I'll just enjoy where I'm at. And sometimes church is life-giving, sometimes it's not as life-giving, but for me, it's a habit, it's part of why I go. I get to fellowship and see people. It keeps me from being in silence the whole day. Then I'll come home, eat an amazing lunch. Typically I cook some more, and lunch is amazing, and typically I stuff myself and I'm a little too full. So then I go take a little walk to hammock. The walk is maybe 5 minutes. I find a spot in the woods, I put up my hammock, I read a little bit until I get sleepy, and then I don't fight it, and I just take a nap. And it's amazing. And it's awesome. And when it's too cold, I'll come inside and take a nap instead of going out in a hammock. But hammock is great during the spring and during the summer and during most of the fall. The hammock is just amazing. And you get to be out in nature, and there's nobody around you, and it's quiet, and it's awesome. So that's what my afternoon will look like. So I'll read a little bit, and then I will just sit there, and I'll enjoy it. And I'll sit in silence as long as I can. And for you, it may be really awkward. It may feel terrible, but I promise you silence is golden. And you should try silence. I can make a whole video about silence, but you should try it. It's great. And then after you sit in silence or nap or read, and I encourage you to read something that's life-giving. One time I read a book called 10 Reasons to Delete Your Social Media Accounts Right Now. It's a great book, but it was very disturbing, and I just didn't feel very peaceful that day. For me, then I'll go home, I'll eat supper, and then I'll eat early supper. Typically I'm not that hungry, but I go to a event that I help get to lead with my church, go hang out with the guys for a bit, and then call my mom. That's when I turn my phone back on, turn it back on my drive back, call, and learn a little bit about what's going on at home, and then read and go to bed early. And that's typically what my day looks like. It can change, it can be different. This past weekend I had to work a little bit on Sunday, so I worked a little bit, and then I'll maybe take an afternoon off or take an evening off later on in the week. The goal is to have a full 24 hours, but maybe you can't do that at this season of life. And then this next week I'll be with a friend in Atlanta. So I'll go to church at a different church, and I'll try and turn my phone off, but I'll just enjoy fellowshipping with him and living life. You don't have to be legalistic about it, but as much as you can, just set aside a day and do nothing. Rest and delight. And by starting with the action, maybe you'll start seeing that there's something to it. And if you try and do it just by itself and you live all of life, you're going to get some benefit from it. You can't not get some benefit from it. But it's going to have a whole lot more benefit when you tie it to the person who created it. So as you explore it, maybe that'll come along. And if you really want to enjoy your Sabbath and get a lot from it, then you got to kind of commune with the person who created it. So that is my experience with Sabbath and taking one day off a week. Finally, the last thing is, if you want to read more about it, you want something, to learn more about it, and it's very fascinating to you, just Google a bunch, you'll find some stuff. But that's my experience. I don't want to go into too much detail. If you want another video, put it in the comments. But really, I just want you to take a moment and have a rest from your work, because I know you're a very driven, highly productive person if you've watched this far. And it's very different, and it's challenging, and all your red flags and antennas are going up because you hate this idea of not doing any work that can't be productive. But let me just say, if you are a slave, back in the day, you're a slave. Maybe you got a day off, but you don't get to control your schedule. That's what slaves do. Slaves don't get to control their schedule. They have to work every single day if they're required of it. You don't have to. You get to choose to take a day off. Maybe you're at a season of life where you can't do the full thing and, explore some different avenues of what that looks like, because it is the law of the universe. And the law of the universe, as one person said, if you go against the grain of the universe, you tend to get splinters. And so I'd encourage you to take a day off, rest, and delight.